Let me tell you a principle that is so simple yet so life-changing that many dismiss it. The life you are living now is the harvest of your former imaginal acts. Every condition, circumstance, and person in your life was first imagined and then externalized through your persistence in that imaginal state. Your entire world is simply your imagination pushed out. If you would transform your life, you must transform your imagination. For 21 days, you must live in the end, dwelling in the only or wish fulfilled. This is not about daydreaming or fantasy. It is about occupying a state so thoroughly that it becomes your reality. Now, why 21 days? The number 21 represents a complete cycle of transformation in consciousness. Science has shown that new neural pathways form when a practice is maintained for this period. But long before modern science discovered this truth, the ancient wisdom taught that man could be reborn through the consistent application of a new self-concept. Consider that you are at this moment the embodiment of all your past assumptions. Everything you now believe about yourself, you have assumed into being. Your health, your relationships, your financial condition, all are the outpicturing of your inner assumptions. If you would change the outer, you must first change the inner. And the inner change requires persistence for 21 days. The great secret is this: you are already that which you seek to be, but you must claim it in consciousness. You must dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. And if you persist in this assumption for 21 days, your outer world will reshape itself to match your inner conviction. Every moment of every day, you are choosing your state of consciousness. Most people choose unconsciously, reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. But I tell you tonight that you can consciously select the state you wish to occupy. And when you do this with faith and persistence for 21 days, miracles will unfold before your eyes. Here's how to begin. Decide who you would be if you were free to choose. Would you be wealthy? Then assume the feeling of wealth. Would you be healthy? Then assume the feeling of vibrant health. Would you be loved? Then assume the feeling of being deeply cherished. Whatever your desire, assume to feel the wish fulfilled and to still feel this feeling one day. The technique is simple, but requires vigilance. Each night as you lie in your bed, close your eyes and construct a scene that would imply your wish is already fulfilled. Perhaps it is a friend congratulating you on your success, or the feeling of being in your dream home, or the sensation of perfect health coursing through your body. Whatever the scene, make it as real as possible. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, see the colors. Then, as you drift into sleep, carry this scene with you. During the day, whenever your mind wanders to thoughts of limitation or doubt, gently bring it back to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Say to yourself, I remember when I struggled with this problem, speaking as though the problem is now in your past. This places the unwanted condition in your past and your desire in your present. This simple linguistic shift creates a powerful change in your subconscious mind. For 21 days, you must guard your mind as a precious garden, pulling out the weeds of doubt and planting only the seeds of your desire. You must be vigilant, for a single day of wavering can reset the clock. The transformation requires consistency, absolute, unwavering consistency in the assumption of the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Now let me share with you why this works. Your subconscious mind does not argue or question, it simply accepts what the conscious mind feeds it. When you persist in an assumption for 21 days, your subconscious mind accepts this as reality and begins to work day and night to bring that into your three-dimensional experience. Think of it as reprogramming your mental computer. For years, perhaps decades, you have been running the same programs of limitation and lack. These programs have created the life you now experience. But in just 21 days of consistent, faithful imagination, you can install new programs of abundance, health, and joy. There's a creative lag between your assumption and its manifestation in the outer world. This lag is the gestation period, and for most significant changes, It is approximately 21 days. During this time, you may see no outer changes, and this is where most people falter. They look to the outer world for confirmation. And seeing none, they abandon their imaginal work. But I tell you tonight, persist through this period of seeming nothingness, and on the other side, you will find your world transformed. The Bible speaks of this when it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith must be strong enough to believe in the reality of the imagined act before its physical manifestation. This is the true meaning of faith, the conviction that what you have imagined is more real than what your physical senses report. Consider the story of the prodigal son. He had to make a decision to return home before he could experience the embrace of his father. So it is with you. You must decide to return to the state of your fulfilled desire before that desire can embrace you in the outer world. And this decision must be maintained for 21 days to complete the transformation. Do not be discouraged if the outer world seems to contradict your inner assumption during these 21 days. The outer is the shadow of your former beliefs, and like a shadow, it must fade as the new light of your assumption grows stronger. Remember the words of Scripture, judge not according to appearances, but judge righteous judgment. To judge righteously is to see through the eyes of your assumption, not through the eyes of your current circumstances. I have seen countless individuals transform their lives through this practice. Men and women who were once bound by poverty now live in abundance. Those who were once sick now radiate health. Those who were once lonely now bask in loving relationships. All because they dared to assume a new state and persisted in that assumption for 21 days. You might ask, but what if I fail? What if I cannot maintain the assumption for 21 days? To this I say, begin again. There is no failure in this work, only delayed success. If you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thought, gently bring yourself back to your desired state. Be patient with yourself, but be persistent. The prize is worth the effort. The law of assumption is unfailing. It operates with mathematical precision. Your conscious assumption it persisted in will inevitably objectify itself in your outer world. This is not magic or mysticism. It is the way consciousness operates. It is the way God operating through you as your human imagination creates reality. As you embark on these 21 days, remember that you are not alone. The very power that created the universe is within you, working through your imagination to create your world. This power is not outside of you. It is your very essence. You are this creative power individualized. And when you align your imagination with your desires, nothing can prevent their manifestation. Consider the miracle of sleep. Each night you enter a state of complete surrender, trusting that your heart will continue to beat, your lungs will continue to breathe. This same power that sustains your life while you sleep is the power that will manifest your desires when you surrender to your assumption. For 21 days, make your assumption your last conscious thought before sleep. Let it be the state from which you view the world upon awakening. Let it be the lens through which you interpret every event of your day. Live from the end, seeing the world not as it appears to be, but as it must be in light of your assumption. This is the art of spiritual warfare, not fighting against outer conditions, but conquering the beliefs within yourself that gave rise to those conditions. For 21 days, you must wage this inner battle, standing firm in the conviction that what you are assuming is already done. And on the other side of these 21 days, you will find that the old self has indeed faded away, and a new self, the self you have dared to imagine, stands in its place. Let me tell you of a student of mine who applied this principle. She had lived in poverty for decades, always struggling to make ends meet. Her mind was filled with thoughts of lack, and her conversation was peppered with phrases like, I can't afford it, and money is scarce. I taught her to assume the feeling of wealth for 21 days. She began by imagining herself checking her bank account and seeing an abundant balance. She felt the relief, the security, the joy of financial freedom. During the day, she would catch herself in thoughts of lack and gently redirect her mind to thoughts of abundance. She would say, I remember when I couldn't afford the things I wanted, speaking as though poverty was in her past. For the first 2 weeks, nothing changed in her outer world. In fact, unexpected expenses arose, and her financial situation appeared to worsen. But she persisted in her assumption, refusing to be swayed by appearances. And then, on the 18th day, she received a phone call from a relative she had not spoken to in years. This relative had been searching for her to deliver the news that she had inherited a substantial sum of money from a distant family member. The inheritance was enough to clear all her debts and provide financial security for years to come. But the true miracle was not the money, it was the transformation in her consciousness. She was no longer the woman who expected lack. She had become the woman who expected abundance. And her outer world had reshaped itself to match her new self-concept. This is the promise I offer you tonight. Persist in your assumption for 21 days, and your old self will fade away. Not by your effort or struggle, but by the natural law of consciousness that manifests on the outside what is claimed on the inside. But remember, this is not about changing specific circumstances. It is about changing yourself. When you change your concept of self, the circumstances of your life change automatically. You do not need to manipulate people or events. You need only to assume the consciousness of the person you wish to be. For 21 days, be that person in your imagination, and the outer world will rearrange itself to accommodate your new self-concept. The Bible tells us, by their fruits ye shall know them. The fruit of your life is the outpicturing of your dominant assumptions. If you do not like the fruit, change the root. Change your assumption and persist in that change for 21 days. This is the secret of transformation. Now let me address a question that often arises. What if my desire involves another person? Perhaps you wish to reconcile with a loved one or receive recognition from a specific individual. The principle remains the same. Assume the consciousness of having already received what you desire from this person. For 21 days, feel the joy of the reconciliation or the satisfaction of the recognition. Do not try to manipulate the other person in your imagination. Simply assume the state of having already received what you desire from them. The outer person is merely a symbol of your inner assumption. Change the assumption, and the person will change to match it. This brings us to another important point. During these 21 days, you must minimize your exposure to contradictory influences. Limit your time with people who reinforce your old self-concept. Reduce your consumption of media that conflicts with your assumption. Surround yourself as much as possible with evidence of your new reality. This does not mean isolating yourself from the world, but it does mean being selective about the mental diet you consume. Just as you would not eat food that poisons your body, do not consume thoughts that poison your assumption. For 21 days, be vigilant about what you allow into your consciousness. Now let us speak of the mechanics of this transformation. For 21 days, you must live as though your desire is already fulfilled. This means adjusting your speech, your posture, your actions to match the person you would be if your desire were already a fact. Speak as that person would speak. Carry yourself as that person would carry themselves. Make decisions as that person would make them. This is not pretense or fantasy. It is the deliberate assumption of a state that already exists in potential. You are not becoming something you are not. You are claiming something you already are but have not yet expressed. This is the true meaning of revelation, not creating something new, but unveiling something eternal. For 21 days, you must be unwavering in this practice. Even if the outer world seems to mock your assumption, stand firm. Remember that what you are seeing is the shadow of your former beliefs, not the reality of your current assumption. The shadow must pass as the light grows stronger. I can hear some of you thinking, but this is difficult. I have tried to maintain a positive state before and I have failed. To this I say the difficulty lies not in the technique, but in your belief about the technique. If you believe it is difficult to maintain an assumption for 21 days, then it will be difficult. But if you believe it is natural and easy, then it will be natural and easy. The choice is yours. You can believe in the difficulty of transformation, or you can believe in its simplicity. I invite you to choose the latter. For 21 days, assume that it is easy and natural to maintain your new state. This assumption alone will make the process smoother. Let me share with you a method that can help during these 21 days. Throughout your day, pause at regular intervals, perhaps and ask yourself, if my desire were already fulfilled, how would I feel in this moment? Then consciously generate that feeling. This practice, repeated consistently for 21 days, will anchor your assumption in your nervous system. Another helpful practice is to write a letter to yourself, dated 21 days from now, describing the magnificent changes that have taken place in your life. Write in detail about the manifestation of your desire, expressing gratitude for its fulfillment. Read this letter each night before sleep, feeling the reality of what you have written. This strengthens your assumption and accelerates the transformation. During these 21 days, you may encounter what seems like opposition or resistance. Perhaps circumstances arise that appear to contradict your assumption. Perhaps doubts creep into your mind, whispering that nothing is changing. This is normal. It is the death throes of the old man, fighting for survival. Do not be discouraged by this resistance. It is a sign that your assumption is taking root. Remember the biblical story of the 3 Hebrew boys who were thrown into the fiery furnace? They went in bound, but when the king looked, he saw 4 men walking free, and the 4th had the appearance of the Son of God. This is a perfect metaphor for your journey. You may feel bound by your current circumstances, thrown into the fire of transformation. But if you persist in your assumption for 21 days, you will emerge not only unharmed, but accompanied by the divinity of your realized desire. The key to this process is emotional intensity. It is not enough to intellectually accept your assumption. You must feel it. Emotion is the fuel that powers transformation. For 21 days, generate the emotion that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the relief, the love. The more intense the emotion, the more rapid the transformation. Some may ask, but what if I desire something that seems impossible? What if the odds are stacked against me? To this I say, in the realm of imagination, there are no impossibilities. The very fact that you can imagine something means it exists in potential and can be brought into manifestation through the law of assumption. For 21 days, reject the concept of impossibility. Refuse to accept the limitations that others have accepted. Live in the awareness that all things are possible to the one who believes. This is not blind optimism. It is the recognition of the true nature of reality, that your consciousness is the only reality, and what you accept as true in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. As you move through these 21 days, you may notice subtle changes in your perception. Colors may seem brighter, sounds clearer. You may find yourself smiling for no apparent reason. These are signs that your assumption is taking root, changing not only your inner world, but your experience of the outer world as well. You may also notice synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to support your assumption. Perhaps you meet someone who can help you achieve your goal, or you come across information that is exactly what you need. These synchronicities are not accidents. They are the natural result of your changed consciousness drawing to itself the circumstances that match it. For 21 days, be alert to these signs, not as confirmation that your assumption is working, for that would imply doubt, but as evidence of the perfect operation of the law. Acknowledge these signs with gratitude, knowing that they are the outer manifestation of your inner assumption. As you approach the end of the 21 days, you may feel a sense of completion, and knowing that the transformation is accomplished. Trust this feeling. It is the signal that your new self has fully emerged, and the old self has faded away. From this point forward, living from your new state will be natural and effortless. But what if, at the end of 21 days, you do not see the complete manifestation of your desire? Do not be discouraged. The seed has been planted, and it must grow. Continue living from your assumption, knowing that what is now invisible must eventually become visible. The law is unfailing, but the timing of its expression varies according to the nature of your desire and the intensity of your assumption. Some desires manifest instantly, others after 21 days, and still others after a longer period. But all desires manifest when the assumption is maintained with faith and patience. Trust the process and do not be tempted to dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Keep watering it with your assumption, and it will sprout in its appointed time. Now let me address a concern that often arises: what if I have multiple desires? Should I focus on just one for 21 days? The answer depends on the nature of your desires. If they are related, for instance, health, wealth, and harmonious relationships as expressions of an abundant life, you can hold them all in a single assumption of abundance. But if they are disparate or seem contradictory, it is better to focus on one primary desire for the 21-day period. Choose a desire that, when fulfilled, would facilitate the fulfillment of other desires. Or choose a desire that carries the strongest emotional charge for you. Fulfill that desire first through your assumption, and then move on to the next. Success builds upon success, and as you experience the power of this law in one area, you will apply it with greater confidence in others. During these 21 days, I encourage you to keep a journal of your journey. Record your imaginal acts, your feelings, and any outer changes you notice. This journal serves two purposes. It strengthens your assumption through the act of writing, and it provides a record of your transformation that can inspire you in future endeavors. Write in your journal as though your desire is already fulfilled. Use the present tense, not the future. Instead of "I will be wealthy," write "I am wealthy." Instead of "I will be healthy," write "I am healthy." This linguistic shift is subtle but powerful, reinforcing your assumption of the wish fulfilled. As you write, allow yourself to feel the emotion of your fulfilled desire. Let the joy, the gratitude, the love flow through you and onto the page. This emotion magnetizes your words, drawing the reality of your desire into your experience. Another practice that can support your transformation during these 21 days is affirmative prayer. This is not the prayer of petition, asking for something you lack, but the prayer of assumption, giving thanks for something you already possess. Each day, spend time in quiet communion with your deeper self, affirming the reality of your desire and giving thanks for its fulfillment. This prayer might be as simple as: "Thank you, Father, for the perfect expression of my desire. Thank you that it is done." Repeat this prayer with feeling, knowing that the Father to whom you speak is your own wonderful human imagination, the creator of your reality. For 21 days, let this prayer be your constant companion. Repeat it upon waking, throughout your day, and before sleep. Let it become the background music of your consciousness, playing continuously as you go about your activities. This constant affirmation strengthens your assumption and accelerates the fading away of the old self. Now, let me address a question that often arises. What if I encounter resistance from others during these 21 days? Perhaps your family or friends do not understand your new way of thinking. Perhaps they continue to see you as your old self and interact with you accordingly. How do you handle this? Remember the principle: everyone in your life is yourself pushed out. The reactions of others are mirrors of your own consciousness. If you truly assume your new state, others will eventually reflect that assumption back to you. For 21 days, see past their current behavior to the behavior that would match your assumption. Interact with them from your new state, not in reaction to their perception of your old state. This requires mental discipline, but it is essential to your transformation. Do not let the opinions or behaviors of others pull you back into your old self-concept. Stand firm in your assumption, knowing that as you persist, their behavior will change to match your new self-concept. During these 21 days, you may find it helpful to associate with people who support your assumption, who can see you as the person you wish to be. Surround yourself, as much as possible, with evidence of your new reality. Read books, listen to music, watch films that reinforce your assumption. Create an environment that supports your transformation. If this is not possible in your current circumstances, create a mental sanctuary where you can retreat throughout the day. This sanctuary is a place in your imagination where your desire is already fulfilled, where you already are the person you wish to be. Visit this sanctuary regularly during the 21 days, strengthening your assumption with each visit. As you approach the end of the 21 days, you may notice a curious phenomenon. What once seemed extraordinary, the state you have been assuming, now feels ordinary. This is a sign of successful transformation. When your assumption becomes your reality, it no longer feels special or unusual, it feels normal. This normalization is the evidence that your old self has indeed faded away, and your new self has fully emerged. Do not be concerned if this happens before the 21 days are complete. The timeline is not rigid, it is a guideline. Some people experience transformation in less time, others in more. The key is not the duration, but the consistency of your assumption. If your assumption becomes your reality before the 21 days are complete, rejoice in the acceleration of the process. And what if, at the end of 21 days, you find that aspects of your old self still remain? Again, do not be discouraged. Transformation is sometimes gradual, especially when you are changing deeply ingrained patterns of thought. Simply continue with your practice, knowing that each day of persistent assumption brings you closer to the complete manifestation of your desire. Think of it this way. If you have been assuming a certain state for 30 years, it may take more than 21 days to fully supplant that assumption with a new one. But the 21-day period establishes the foundation for this new assumption, creating new neural pathways that will strengthen with continued use. The most important thing is to persist in your assumption, to live from the state of the wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances. This persistence is the key to transformation. As the wise saying goes, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to those who endure to the end. Your persistence in your assumption will be rewarded with the manifestation of your desire. Finally, let me share with you the ultimate secret of transformation: love. Love is the feeling that transforms, that renews, that regenerates. For 21 days, infuse your assumption with love. Love the person you are becoming. Love the process of transformation. Love the world that is rearranging itself to match your assumption. This love is not sentimental or emotional in the ordinary sense. It is the recognition of the divine within yourself and within all things. It is the awareness that you are one with the creative power of the universe, that you are that power individualized. This recognition, this awareness, accelerates the transformation beyond measure. For 21 days, live in this awareness. See the divine in yourself and in others. Recognize the creative power in your own imagination. Feel the love that flows from this recognition, and let it infuse your assumption with its transformative power. The journey of 21 days is not a journey through time, but a journey through consciousness. It is the journey from the person you think you are to the person you truly are. It is the journey from limitation to freedom, from lack to abundance, from fear to love. And at the end of this journey, you will find that your old self has indeed faded away, and a new self, the self you have always been, but have not fully expressed, stands in its place. This new self is not something you have created. It is something you have revealed. It has always been there, waiting for you to claim it. And through 21 days of persistent assumption, you have cleared away the debris of false beliefs to reveal the truth of your being. This is the promise I offer you tonight. 21 days of consistent, faithful imagination will transform your life. Your old self will fade away, and a new self will emerge, not by your effort or struggle, but by the natural law of consciousness manifest on the outside what is claimed on the inside. Begin today. Choose the state you wish to occupy. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Persist in this assumption for 21 days, and watch as the miracle of transformation unfolds in your life. Your old self will fade away, and the new self, the self you have dared to imagine, will stand in its place, radiating the light of fulfilled desire. Remember, you are all imagination, and imagination is God in action. Use this divinely and lovingly for 21 days, and you will experience the truth. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your transformation is not a distant possibility. It is an immediate promise waiting to be claimed through the consistent application of your wonderful human imagination. Begin now. The power is within you. The time is now. For 21 days, live from the state of your wish fulfilled and watch as your old self fades away, replaced by the new self you have imagined into being. This is the miracle of transformation available to all who had the courage to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and the persistence to maintain that assumption for 21 days. In this moment, right where you are, you can begin your transformation. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself 21 days from now, your desire fully manifested, your new self fully expressed. Feel the reality of this state. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the satisfaction. Let this feeling permeate every cell of your being. This is the beginning of your transformation. This is the first step on your journey of 21 days. Open your eyes now, but carry this feeling with you. Let it be your companion for the next 21 days. Let it be the lens through which you view the world. Let it be the state from which you live your life. And at the end of these 21 days, you will look back in wonder at the person you once were, for that person will have faded away, replaced by the person you have dared to imagine. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The time is now. Will you embark on this journey of 21 days? Will you persist in your assumption until your old self fades away? The decision is yours, and it is a decision that will shape not only the next 21 days, but the rest of your life. Choose wisely, choose lovingly, and choose now. Your transformation awaits. Your new self stands ready to emerge. For 21 days, be faithful to your assumption and watch as the miracle of transformation unfolds in your life. Your old self will fade away, and the new self, the self you have always been but have not fully expressed, will stand in its place, radiating the light of fulfilled desire. This is the promise of transformation. This is the power of your wonderful human imagination. This is the gift that awaits you at the end of 21 days of consistent, faithful assumption. Begin now and do not look back. The journey of transformation is before you, and it is a journey that will change your life forever. Your old self will fade away in 21 days if you stay consistent. This is not merely a possibility, it is a promise. A promise that has been fulfilled in the lives of countless individuals who have applied this principle with faith and persistence. It can be fulfilled in your life as well, beginning today, beginning now. The transformation is waiting for you. The power is within you. The choice is yours. Choose transformation. Choose fulfillment. Choose to live from the state of your wish fulfilled for 21 days and watch as your old self fades away, replaced by the new self you have dared to imagine into being. This is the miracle of transformation available to all who have the courage to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and the persistence to maintain that assumption for 21 days. Begin now. The time is right. The power is yours for 21 days. Live as desires already fulfilled and watch as your world transforms to match your assumption. Your old self will fade away, and the new self, the self you have imagined into being, will stand in its place, radiating the light of fulfilled desire. This is the promise of transformation. This is the power of your wonderful human imagination. This is the gift that awaits you at the end of 21 days of consistent, faithful assumption. Begin now and do not look back. The journey of transformation is before you, and it is a journey that will change your life forever.
When we chase after things with desperation, we create a gap between ourselves and the very things we desire. This gap exists not because what we seek is far away, but because we believe it is. Our relentless pursuit declares to the universe that we do not possess it. And as long as we feel the lack remains. The secret lies in the stillness of knowing. When you stop trying to get it, you align yourself with the reality in which it is already yours. Imagine the feeling of having it now, not tomorrow, not someday, but in this very moment. Feel the joy, the peace, and the fulfillment as if the dream has already materialized. That state of being is the key to unlocking the floodgates of abundance. Life does not respond to need or effort, it responds to being. When you try, you affirm that you are not yet what you wish to be. But when you embody the state of having, without strain, the world shifts to reflect your inner conviction. Stop searching outwardly and start dwelling inwardly. Rest in the assurance that all you desire is already within you, waiting to be expressed in the perfect way. There is no need to manipulate the outer world. The outer world is merely a mirror, reflecting the state of your inner world. If you are restless, the world will echo your restlessness. But if you are at peace, fully immersed in the feeling of fulfillment, the world will bend to your peace, bringing to you all that matches your state of being. Release the struggle, for struggle only keeps you entangled. Let go of the effort to make it happen. Instead, rest in the vision of it already done. The power that created the stars and moves the oceans resides in you, and it knows no effort. Trust in that power, align with it, and watch as your desires flow to you naturally, as easily as the sun rises and sets. What you seek is not separate from you. It is not out there waiting for you to find it. It is within, waiting for you to claim it. Stop trying to grasp what is already yours. Let go, and you will find that in the stillness of your being, you already have it all. When you let go of trying, when you stop the ceaseless effort to control, you begin to tap into a profound truth. All that you seek is already present within you. It is not about becoming worthy or proving yourself to a distant force. It is about recognizing the reality of your oneness with what you desire. To try is to push, and to push is to admit that there is distance. But in the quiet acceptance of what is already yours, there is no distance, no gap to bridge, and no struggle to endure. The moment you stop striving is the moment you allow the natural order of things to flow. Like a river that effortlessly follows its course, your life unfolds perfectly when you cease the need to dam it with effort. The flow of life is not something you need to create or control, it is something you align with. Effort interrupts that flow. Effort says, I must make this happen, while faith says, it is already done. Faith is not blind hope, it is the deep knowing that all is already in place, that the seed you planted within yourself is growing, even if you cannot yet see its bloom. Everything in this world begins with a thought, a feeling, an imagination. What you focus on within is what takes shape without. This is not a matter of wishing or longing, for longing suggests separation. It is a matter of feeling, of truly living in the state of fulfillment within your imagination. When you feel the joy, the satisfaction, and the gratitude of already having what you desire, the world cannot help but reflect it back to you. It must, for it is the law of life. Do not confuse letting go with giving up. To give up is to surrender to doubt, but to let go is to surrender to trust. Trust that the unseen forces of creation are working for you. Trust that the life you desire is unfolding, even if you cannot yet see the evidence. The farmer does not dig up his seeds each day to check if they are growing. He trusts the process, knowing that the unseen work beneath the soil is just as real as the harvest he will one day gather. When you let go of trying, you open yourself to receive. You cannot receive with clenched fists or a heart heavy with frustration. Relax. Rest in the knowing. Feel the ease of already having it, and let that feeling become your dwelling place. Your state of being is the magnet that draws your desires to you. It is not through force, but through alignment that the unseen becomes seen. The external world will always respond to your internal state. If you are anxious and desperate, the world will mirror that energy back to you. But if you are calm, assured, and filled with the feeling of already being whole, the world will shift to meet you there. You do not need to chase anything, for nothing is truly outside of you. Everything you could ever want is an extension of what you already are. The joy, the abundance, the love, they are not external prizes to be won, but reflections of your inner state. To stop trying does not mean to stop dreaming. Dream boldly, imagine vividly, and feel deeply. But let your dreams arise from a place of certainty, not lack. You do not dream to escape reality, you dream to create it. Your imagination is the workshop of your destiny, and what you hold there with faith and feeling must come to pass. When you stop trying, you stop scattering your energy and start directing it with purpose. Think of the moments in your life when something wonderful came to you unexpectedly, effortlessly. Perhaps it was a chance meeting, an opportunity, or a stroke of inspiration. These moments were not the result of strain or struggle, they were the result of alignment. You were in the right state of being, and the universe responded accordingly. This is not luck or coincidence, it is the natural order of creation. You cannot outrun the truth of who you are. If you believe you are lacking, no amount of effort will fill that void. But when you believe, truly believe, that you are already whole, the world will confirm that truth. It is not about pretending or forcing yourself to feel something you do not. It is about gently shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already possess within you. It is about remembering that you are not separate from your desires, you are their source. Stop trying to manipulate the details of how and when. The how is not your concern, and the when is already perfect. Your task is simply to remain in the state of being that aligns with what you desire. Live as though it is already yours. Feel the gratitude of having received it. Speak and act from a place of fulfillment, not fear. When you do this, you are no longer trying to get it, you are allowing it to unfold naturally, in ways more beautiful and unexpected than you could have planned. The greatest paradox of life is that when you let go of trying to possess something, you possess it fully. When you release the need to control, you step into the flow of divine timing and infinite possibilities. This is not passivity, it is the ultimate act of faith. It is the understanding that your role is not to force but to allow, not to chase but to align. The universe moves mountains for those who trust its power and wisdom. Even now, as you listen, the reality you desire is forming around you. Each thought, each feeling, each moment of stillness brings it closer. You do not need to strive to make it happen, you only need to be. Rest in the assurance that all is well, and let that assurance guide your every step. In the stillness of knowing, you will find that you have already arrived. The act of creation is effortless when it arises from the depth of knowing. When you allow yourself to be still and truly feel, you connect with the infinite. The infinite does not operate through force, it operates through resonance. What you embody within yourself, you call forth from the world. This is why trying, striving, and pushing are counterproductive. They create resistance. Resistance is born from the belief that what you desire is separate from you. But in truth, it is not. I think for a moment about the ocean. The waves rise and fall, not because they are fighting to reach the shore, but because it is their nature to move. Creation follows the same rhythm. It is not something to be forced or demanded, it is something to be allowed. When you rest in the awareness that you are already one with your desires, the current of life carries you effortlessly to their manifestation. The struggle dissolves, and in its place is a calm, steady assurance that all is unfolding perfectly. The reason so many feel stuck is that they attach themselves to the doing, rather than the being. They believe that through sheer effort they can mold reality to their will. But the truth is, reality is a reflection of your inner state. What you are within, you will see without. If you feel lack, the world will confirm your lack. If you feel abundance, the world will mirror abundance back to you. This is not wishful thinking, it is the law of creation. Consider the way a seed grows into a tree. The seed does not strain or struggle to become what it already is in potential. It simply follows the natural flow of life. It does not ask, when will I grow? Or how will I become a tree? It trusts the process. It rests in the soil, nourished by what is already provided, and unfolds in its own time. In the same way, you must trust the process of your own becoming. Your desires are like seeds planted within you. They do not need force, they need faith. Faith is not about hoping that something might happen. Faith is about knowing that it already is. When you embody faith, you stop questioning whether your desires will manifest. You stop doubting your worthiness to receive them. Instead, you live from a place of quiet confidence, knowing that everything you need is already yours. This confidence is not arrogance, it is the natural state of one who understands the laws of life. Letting go of trying does not mean letting go of action. Action is a natural expression of being, but it must arise from alignment rather than effort. When you act from a place of alignment, your actions are inspired, effortless, and effective. They carry the energy of fulfillment rather than lack. You are not chasing something outside of yourself, you are simply expressing what already exists within you. Notice the difference between the one who acts out of desperation and the one who acts out of faith. Desperation says, I must do this to get what I want. Faith says, I will do this because it feels right, and I trust that all is unfolding as it should. The energy behind your actions matters more than the actions themselves. The world responds not to what you do, but to the state of being from which you do it. Every moment is an opportunity to realign with the truth of your being. When you find yourself striving, stop and take a breath. Return to the feeling of already having it. Close your eyes and imagine the reality you desire. Feel it as though it is happening now. Let the joy, the peace, and the gratitude fill your heart. This is not pretending, this is aligning. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes, until one day you realize you no longer need to try, you are simply living in the state of having. Patience is a natural byproduct of trust. When you trust that your desires are already yours, you no longer feel the need to rush or force the process. You understand that everything has its time and place. Just as the sun rises and sets without your interference, your desires will manifest in their own perfect timing. Impatience arises from fear that it will not happen or that you are not worthy. But when you let go of fear and rest in trust, impatience dissolves. The outer world is but a shadow of the inner. You cannot change the shadow by reaching for it, you must change the object casting it. If you wish to see love, abundance, or peace in your life, you must first cultivate these states within yourself. The world cannot give you what you are not willing to embody. This is the ultimate truth. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. Even as you listen, the words are not creating something new within you, they are simply awakening what has always been there. You have always been whole, complete, and connected to the infinite. Your desires are not foreign to you, they are expressions of who you are. When you understand this, the need to try disappears. You realize that there is nothing to get, for you already have it all. Trust the stillness. Trust the knowing. Trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Release the need to make it happen, and instead allow it to happen. You are not separate from the power that creates worlds, you are one with it. Rest in that truth, and let the unfolding of your desires be as natural as the blooming of a flower. You will find, as you let go, that you already are, and have always been, everything you could ever need. The journey of creation is not about moving from a place of lack to a place of abundance, it is about awakening to the abundance that has always been present. To seek is to imply that something is missing, but to realize is to know that nothing is ever absent. The very act of trying creates a distance between you and what you desire, a distance that only exists in the mind. When you stop trying, you dissolve that illusion of separation and step into the fullness of being. Feel the power of the present moment. It is in this moment, not in some distant future, that all things are created. The eternal now is where your desires take root and where they bloom. The mind often rushes ahead, searching for evidence, craving signs, but the heart knows better. The heart understands that all creation is birthed in stillness, in the quiet conviction that what you seek is already yours. Let your heart guide you back to this truth, again and again, until it becomes your dwelling place. To live in this awareness is to live in harmony with the divine order. The universe does not respond to struggle or desperation, it responds to faith and alignment. Think of a magnet, it does not strain to attract, it simply is. Its very nature draws to it what aligns with its field. In the same way, your state of being naturally attracts experiences that match its vibration. There is no effort in this process, only a quiet certainty that what is meant for you cannot be lost. The mind, conditioned by the world, often believes in the necessity of hard work, sacrifice, and striving. It whispers that nothing worthwhile comes easily, that you must prove yourself worthy through effort. But the soul knows a different truth. The soul knows that your worth is not something to be earned, it is inherent. You are already enough, already complete, already worthy of all the good that life has to offer. When you release the need to try, you honor this truth. You step into the flow of grace, where all things come to you effortlessly. This does not mean you will not act, but your actions will be inspired rather than forced. They will arise from a place of joy and alignment, not from fear or obligation. When you act from this state, even the smallest steps carry immense power. The energy of alignment amplifies your efforts, allowing them to ripple outward in ways you cannot predict or control. Trust in this process. Trust that your inspired actions, no matter how simple, are enough. The key is to remain steadfast in your inner state, even when the outer world has yet to catch up. The delay is not a sign of failure, but a natural part of the unfolding. Just as seasons change in their own time, so too do your desires manifest when the conditions are right. Impatience only disrupts the process, creating resistance where there should be ease. Instead, cultivate patience as an act of faith. Know that the unseen work is already underway, even if you cannot yet perceive it. Doubt may arise, as it often does, but doubt is not your enemy. It is simply a signal that your focus has shifted from faith to fear. When doubt appears, do not fight it. Acknowledge it, then gently guide your attention back to the truth. Remind yourself that what you desire is already a reality within you, waiting to be expressed. Feel the joy of having it, the gratitude of its presence, and let these feelings anchor you in the state of fulfillment. Gratitude is a powerful force in this process. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, aligning you with the energy of abundance. When you live in gratitude, you create a fertile ground for your desires to take root. You no longer seek validation or reassurance from the outside world, for you carry the certainty of your wholeness within. This inner state of gratitude is a magnet for blessings, drawing to you experiences that reflect its vibration. It is not your role to question the means by which your desires will manifest. The how is the domain of the infinite, far beyond the limited scope of the human mind. Your role is simply to remain in the state of being that aligns with your desires. When you do this, the universe orchestrates events in ways that defy logic and expectation. Doors open, opportunities arise, and pathways appear where there were none. This is the miracle of creation, and it is available to you at every moment. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the freedom to let go. Let go of the need to control, to force, to make things happen. In letting go, you create space for the divine to work through you. You become a vessel for infinite possibilities, no longer bound by the limitations of the mind. This is not surrender in the sense of giving up, it is surrender in the sense of trusting the greater wisdom that guides all things. Even as you hear these words, the truth of them resonates within you. There is a part of you that already knows, that has always known, that you are one with the source of all creation. This part of you does not need convincing or proof, it simply is. When you connect with this knowing, you access a power that transcends effort, struggle, and limitation. You step into the realm of infinite potential, where all things are possible. This is the essence of creation: to be still, to feel, to know. When you stop trying to get it, you realize that you have always had it. The seeking ends, and in its place is the profound realization that you are, and have always been, complete. Rest in this truth, and let it guide you in all things. In doing so, you will find that life itself becomes an effortless unfolding, a dance of joy and abundance that reflects the fullness of who you are. Every breath you take in this moment is infused with the infinite creative power of the universe. You are not apart from it, you are it. There is no separation between the Creator and the creation, just as there is no separation between the ocean and its waves. The wave may appear distinct, yet it is nothing without the ocean that gives it life. So too is your every desire an extension of the divine expressing itself through you. To resist this truth is to resist your own nature. To embrace it is to step into the fullness of who you are. Your desires are not random. They are divine impulses, whispers from the infinite urging you toward greater self-expression and expansion. Yet these whispers are gentle, they do not shout, nor do they demand. They invite. They invite you to align, to become, to realize. When you try to force the manifestation of these desires, you drown out their subtle voice. But when you relax, when you release, you allow these divine impulses to unfold in their perfect time and way. Imagine holding a bird in your hands. If you clutch it too tightly, you may harm it, or it may struggle to escape. But if you hold it lightly, it remains with you, free and unburdened. So it is with your desires. They are meant to be held lightly, with trust and reverence, not with desperation or fear. This lightness of being is not a sign of indifference, but of profound faith. It says, I trust that what is mine will come to me, and I release the need to control its arrival. Control is the illusion that keeps so many trapped in cycles of frustration and longing. The more you try to control the outcome, the more elusive it becomes. This is because control stems from fear, and fear is a state of resistance. But the energy of creation flows only in openness, in surrender. To let go of control is not to abandon your desires, but to release the resistance that blocks their manifestation. It is to say, I trust the wisdom of the universe more than the fears of my mind. Think of a seed planted in the earth. You do not need to dig it up each day to check its progress, nor do you need to force it to grow. You trust the process. You water it, give it sunlight, and let it be. In time it sprouts, grows, and bears fruit. Your desires are much the same. They are seeds planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Your job is to nurture them with faith, love, and gratitude, and then to let them grow in their own time. The act of trying often comes from a place of unworthiness, a belief that you must do more, or be more to deserve what you seek. But you are already worthy. Your worthiness is not conditional, it is not something to be earned or proven. It is your birthright, inherent and unchanging. When you stop trying to earn what is already yours, you free yourself from the chains of unworthiness. You step into a state of grace, where all things flow to you effortlessly, because you have aligned with the truth of who you are. Effortlessness does not mean passivity. It means inspired action, action that flows naturally from a place of alignment. When you are aligned, your actions carry the energy of certainty and joy, not of struggle or desperation. This is the difference between working hard and working with ease. The former depletes you, the latter empowers you. When you act from alignment, even the smallest gesture carries the weight of the infinite. It is not the quantity of your actions, but the quality of your energy that shapes your reality. The outer world is a mirror, reflecting back to you the state of your inner world. If you see lack and struggle in your life, it is because those states are present within you. But the mirror is not fixed, it changes as you change. When you shift your inner state to one of peace, abundance, and gratitude, the outer world has no choice but to reflect this shift. This is not magic, it is the law. The world must mirror back to you the vibration you hold within. To stop trying is to live as though your desires are already fulfilled. It is to feel the joy, the gratitude, the peace of having what you want, even before it appears in form. This is not a trick or a game, it is the essence of creation. The outer world cannot give you what you are unwilling to feel within. But when you embody the feeling of your desire fulfilled, the outer world must conform to this inner reality. It cannot do otherwise. The mind may rebel against this truth. It may tell you that you must see evidence before you can believe, that you must achieve before you can feel. But this is the great reversal. Believing comes first, seeing follows. Feeling comes first, achieving follows. The outer world is but a shadow of the inner, and to chase the shadow is to lose sight of the light that creates it. Turn inward to the source of all light, and you will find that the shadow naturally falls into place. There is a simplicity in this process that the mind often resists. It wants complexity, strategies, and steps. It wants to analyze, calculate, and predict. But the heart knows that creation is simple. It is as simple as breathing, as natural as the rising and setting of the sun. The more you trust this simplicity, the more you allow life to unfold in its perfect rhythm. Complexity is a product of fear, simplicity is the language of love. You do not need to know the how of your desires. The infinite intelligence of the universe has already taken care of that. Your role is not to micromanage the process, but to align with the end result. Feel it, believe it, live as though it is already yours. This is your power, your divine gift. To misuse it by dwelling in doubt or fear is to deny yourself the joy and abundance that are your birthright. Even as you let go of the need to try, you will find that the things you once chased begin to chase you. Opportunities, relationships, and experiences will flow into your life with a grace that defies explanation. This is not because you have stopped desiring, but because you have stopped resisting. You have stepped into the flow of life, where all things are possible and all things are given in their perfect time. Feel the truth of these words. They are not new, they are ancient and eternal, echoing through the depths of your being. You already know them, for they are written in the fabric of your soul. They are not something to be learned, but something to be remembered. As you remember, you awaken. And as you awaken, you create not through effort, but through the effortless knowing that you already are all that you seek. In conclusion, the journey of manifesting your desires and achieving the life you've dreamed of often requires a deep understanding of trust and surrender. It's easy to fall into the trap of constant striving, constantly chasing after what you think you want. However, true success and fulfillment come when you stop trying to force things into existence and instead trust that the universe has a plan for you. By relinquishing the need to control every outcome, you create space for your desires to naturally unfold in their perfect timing. Too often we find ourselves trapped in a cycle of anxiety, fear, and impatience. We think that if we work harder, push further, or try to control the situation more, the thing we want will finally come to us. But this mindset only creates resistance. When we stop trying, stop forcing, and trust the process, we allow the energy of the universe to flow freely through us. We align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life, and in that alignment, we become magnets for the very things we desire. When you let go of the need to force, you free yourself from the weight of stress and struggle. You start to notice that everything falls into place with ease. Your relationships, your career, and your personal growth all flourish when you allow them to. It is when you surrender to the natural flow that you begin to see that the universe is always conspiring in your favor. It's not about doing more, it's about being more at peace, more in trust, more aligned with your true self. This doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means letting go of the fear that keeps you trapped in effortful striving. It means taking inspired action when it feels right, but never out of desperation. You must trust that the universe will bring you what you need at the right moment in the right way. The more you let go, the more you allow your desires to come to you effortlessly. Furthermore, when you stop trying to control every aspect of your life, you start to see things from a higher perspective. You stop worrying about the small details and start focusing on the bigger picture. Life begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a divine journey, one that's unfolding in perfect timing. Your only job is to remain open, stay grounded in trust, and believe that everything is working out exactly as it should. Remember, the universe has a way of orchestrating your desires in a manner far more beautiful and profound than you could ever imagine. The truth is that you can never force anything into existence. But when you align with the flow of life, when you let go of the resistance, and when you trust the timing of the universe, everything you want will come to you, often in ways you least expect, but always in the most miraculous way. So stop trying to get it. Let go of the need to force it into your life. Know that what's meant for you is already on its way. Trust the process, surrender to the flow, and watch as the universe delivers the life you've always dreamed of effortlessly, abundantly, and in divine timing.
That power that created and sustains all things is not outside of you, it is within you. It is your consciousness, your awareness of being. The universe cannot say no to you because the universe is not separate from you. You are the universe expressing itself as a human being, having a temporary human experience. Tonight I want to share with you the secret of effective prayer. Prayer is not begging or beseeching an external deity. Prayer is the art of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you know how to ask properly, there is no power that can say no to your request. Let me share with you a passage from Scripture that reveals this truth. In the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24, we read, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." The secret lies in these words. Believe that you have received it. You must first assume the feeling of already having what you desire before it can manifest in your world. Most people are constantly asking from a state of lack and wondering why their prayers go unanswered. They pray and affirm but remain in the same state of consciousness that does not have what they are seeking. This is the fundamental error. To ask in such a way that the universe cannot say no, you must ask from the state of fulfillment, not from the state of desire. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret and the art of successful prayer. Let me illustrate this principle with a simple example. If you desire financial abundance, do not pray by saying, "God, please give me more money," or "Universe, I need financial freedom." This is asking from lack, and your very prayer is a confession of your current state of poverty. Instead, you must assume the feeling of already being financially abundant. How would you feel if you were already financially free? What thoughts would occupy your mind? How would you carry yourself? What conversations would you have? When you assume the feeling of financial abundance, when you sleep in the assumption that you are now financially free, you are asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. For the universe can only reflect back to you your own conception of yourself. Remember the words of the prophet Isaiah, "Before they call, I will answer." This is a profound psychological and spiritual truth. Before you call, before you ask, the answer is already prepared. Your assumption, your state of consciousness, determines what you will call for and consequently what will be answered. I recall a gentleman who attended one of my lectures in New York. He approached me afterward and said, "Mr. Goddard, I have been praying for a promotion in my company for 3 years with no results." I asked him, "How do you pray?" He described a process of visualization where he would see himself being congratulated, receiving a new title and a higher salary. But I asked, "What is the feeling you embody after this visualization?" He confessed that he returned to feeling frustrated that it hadn't happened yet. I told him, "You are undoing your prayer with your subsequent feeling state. You must not only visualize the end result, but also sleep in the conviction that it is done." I suggested that he assume the feeling of already having received the promotion before going to sleep each night. Within 2 weeks, he received not just a promotion, but a position 2 levels higher than he had initially sought. This is the law, and it never fails. But you must understand that your conscious assumption, though false to your senses, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The time it takes for your assumption to become fact depends on the naturalness of the feeling, how deeply are embracing the new state. Now, there is another aspect to asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, and that is detachment. Many of you have heard of the importance of detachment in manifestation, but detachment is often misunderstood. Detachment does not mean not caring about your desire. It means complete faith that it is already yours in the spiritual realm and must, by law, materialize in the physical realm. True detachment comes from the conviction that what you have assumed in consciousness is already a fact in the spiritual realm, which is the realm of causation. The physical realm is merely the realm of effects. Cause always precedes effect. Your consciousness is the cause. Your world is the effect. Let me share with you another example to illustrate this principle. A young woman came to me in despair over her marriage. Her husband had left her for another woman, and all logical evidence suggested that the marriage was over. I asked her if she truly wanted her husband back, and she confirmed with tears in her eyes that she did. I told her, "Your task is simple but not easy. You must assume that your husband has returned and that your marriage is more harmonious than ever before. You must live from the end. When you go to sleep at night, feel the joy and gratitude of having your husband back. Feel his presence beside you in bed. Hear his voice expressing his love for you. Feel the wedding ring on your finger. Do this with conviction and the universe cannot say no. She practiced this faithfully for 3 weeks. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, unexpectedly, her husband called. They met for coffee, which led to dinner, and within a month he had moved back home. But here's the interesting part. He told her that during those 3 weeks he couldn't stop thinking about her. He felt inexplicably drawn back to her, despite his logical mind telling him to stay away. This is how the law works. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are exercising the divine power within you, which is your imagination. And your imagination, sustained with conviction, will externalize itself in your physical reality. I want to emphasize that this is not mere positive thinking or wishful thinking. This is the application of an immutable spiritual law. The Bible calls it faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is the feeling of possession of the things desired. Faith is coming from a state of knowing, not hoping or wishing. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. How exactly do you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled? It begins with a decision. You must decide what you want to be, to have, or to experience. Be specific. Be clear. Then, you must construct a scene in your imagination that implies the fulfillment of your desire. For instance, if you desire a new home, create a scene where a friend is congratulating you on your beautiful new home. Feel their handshake or embrace. Hear their voice. Smell the freshness of your new space. Feel the emotion of pride and gratitude for having your new home. This scene, if constructed with sensory vividness and emotional intensity, and if persisted in until it takes on the tone of reality, will materialize in your physical world. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, because you are not asking in the traditional sense at all. You are claiming, you are appropriating, you are assuming. You are exercising your divine right as a creator made in the image of God. I must stress that this principle applies to every area of your life: health, wealth, relationships, career, spiritual growth, and more. There is no limit to what you can achieve through the proper application of your imagination. Consider the case of physical healing. If you are experiencing illness or physical discomfort, the conventional approach is to focus on the problem, to fight against it, to see it as an enemy to be conquered. But this keeps you locked in the consciousness of illness. Instead, assume the feeling of being perfectly healthy. Feel the energy coursing through your body. Feel the joy of pain-free movement. Feel the gratitude for your robust health. This feeling state persisted in will manifest as physical well-being. I recall a woman who had been diagnosed with a chronic condition that doctors said was incurable. She came to me in desperation, having exhausted all medical options. I taught her this principle of assuming the feeling of her wish fulfilled. I instructed her to go to sleep each night in the assumption of perfect health, to feel the joy and gratitude of being completely healed. Within 3 months, she returned to her doctor for a checkup, and to the doctor's astonishment, there was no trace of the condition. The doctor called it a spontaneous remission, a medical miracle. But it was no miracle in the sense of a violation of natural law. It was the perfect operation of the law of assumption. She had changed her concept of herself, and her body reflected that new concept. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, what about the time gap? What about the waiting period between my assumption and its manifestation in the physical world? This is where most people falter. They cannot sustain the faith through the interval of time. They begin to doubt, to question, to look for results, and in doing so, they revert to the old state of consciousness, the state of lack. The key is to understand that time is merely a psychological construct, a measurement of the interval between events. In the realm of spirit, in the realm of consciousness, there is no time. Your desire is already fulfilled the moment you assume the feeling of its fulfillment. The time it takes to materialize in the physical realm is determined by various factors, including the naturalness of the state to you and the degree to which you persist in the new state. Do not be concerned with the how. The universe, God, your own wonderful human imagination will take care of the how. Your job is to remain faithful to the end, to the state of fulfillment. As you do this, the bridge of incidents will form naturally to lead you to the physical realization of your desire. Let me give you another example to illustrate this point. A man desired to travel to a foreign country, but lacked the financial means to do so. Instead of focusing on the lack of money, he began to assume the feeling of already being in that country. Each night before sleep, he would imagine smelling the distinct aromas of that country's cuisine, hearing the local language being spoken, seeing the famous landmarks, and feeling the unique texture of the local fabrics. He persisted in this assumption for several weeks. Then, out of the blue, he received a call from a company that was expanding into that very country. They had seen his resume online and wanted to interview him for a position that would require him to relocate there. Not only would they cover his travel expenses, but they would also provide a salary that far exceeded what he was currently earning. Was this a coincidence? There are no coincidences in a universe governed by law. It was the perfect externalization of his internal state. He had asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. I must also address a question that often arises. What about the desires of others? What if my desire conflicts with someone else's? This stems from a misunderstanding of the nature of consciousness. Consciousness is one, although it appears to be many. There is only one God, one imagination, expressing itself through countless human forms. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are not imposing your will on another. You are simply attracting to yourself the circumstances, people, and events that match your state of consciousness. Everyone is you pushed out. The world is yourself pushed out. What you see in others is a reflection of your own consciousness. If you want to change your world, change your concept of yourself. As within, so without. This is the ancient Hermetic principle, and it is as true today as it was thousands of years ago. Now I want to share with you a technique that I have found particularly effective in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the technique of revision. Revision is the art of mentally rewriting a past event to align with your desired outcome. By revising the past, you are actually recreating your future, because the future is a projection of your past beliefs and assumptions. For example, if you had a disagreement with a colleague at work, instead of carrying the negative energy of that encounter, revise it in your imagination. See the conversation going harmoniously. Feel the mutual respect and understanding. Hear the words of agreement and cooperation. By revising the past event, you are changing your state of consciousness and consequently your future interactions with that person. Revision can be applied to any past event that continues to affect your present state of consciousness negatively. By mentally rewriting these events, you are asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. Another powerful technique is the use of affirmative prayer, or what I call imaginative assertion. Unlike traditional prayer, which often takes the form of petition or supplication, affirmative prayer is the declaration of what is already true in spirit. It is claiming what is already yours by divine right. For instance, instead of saying, "God, please heal my body," say with conviction, "I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy." Feel the truth of these words. Embody them. Let them permeate your consciousness until they become your dominant state. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, because you are not asking from a place of lack or need. You are affirming the truth of your being, the truth of who you really are. I want to emphasize that the techniques that visualization, revision, affirmative prayer, or any other are merely aids to help you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The techniques themselves are not the power. The power is in your consciousness, in your ability to assume and persist in a state. Let me share with you a personal experience that illustrates this principle. Many years ago, I desired to travel to Barbados to visit my family, but I lacked the funds to make the journey. Instead of dwelling on my lack of resources, I began to assume the feeling of already being in Barbados. Each night before sleep, I would imagine lying in my familiar bed in my family home in Barbados. I would hear the distinct sound of the palm trees rustling in the Caribbean breeze. I would smell the salt air and feel the warmth of the tropical climate. I persisted in this assumption for several weeks, falling asleep each night in the feeling of already being in Barbados. Then, one day I received a letter from my brother in Barbados. Inside the letter was a ticket for passage to Barbados, a gift from my family. The law had worked perfectly. My internal assumption had externalized itself. This is the law, and it never fails. But you must apply it correctly. You must ask from the state of having, not from the state of wanting. You must embody the consciousness of already being what you want to be, already having what you want to have, already experiencing what you want to experience. Now I want to address a common misconception. Many people believe that they must get rid of all negative thoughts to manifest their desires. This is not true. Thoughts and of themselves do not create reality. It is the feeling, the emotional state, the consciousness that creates reality. You will always have passing thoughts, both positive and negative. The key is not to identify the negative thoughts, not to dwell in them, not to make them your home. Instead, choose deliberately the state you wish to occupy and persist in it despite any contrary thoughts or appearances. This brings me to another important principle, the principle of attention. Whatever you focus your attention on, you energize and manifest in your life. Your attention is like a spotlight. Whatever it illuminates becomes your reality. Therefore, be selective with your attention. Direct it consciously toward what you want, not toward what you do not want. If you want health, do not give your attention to illness. If you want wealth, do not give your attention to poverty. If you want harmonious relationships, do not give your attention to conflict. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. I once worked with a businessman who was facing financial ruin. His company was on the verge of bankruptcy, and all external evidence pointed to an inevitable collapse. I taught him the principle of attention. I told him, do not give life to the bankruptcy by dwelling on it, by talking about it, by feeling the despair of it. Instead, direct your attention to the state of financial prosperity. I instructed him to create a mental scene that implied the financial turnaround of his company. In his imagination, he crafted a scene where his accountant was showing him balance sheets indicating substantial profits. He felt the relief, the joy, the gratitude of this turnaround. He persisted in this mental exercise for several weeks. During this time, an opportunity presented itself that he would have missed had he been focused on bankruptcy. This opportunity led to a partnership that not only saved his company, but propelled it to new heights of success. This is the law in operation. By directing his attention to the desired state, by dwelling in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, he asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. I want to underscore that this principle is not about ignoring reality or living in denial. It is about understanding the true nature of reality. The external world is a shadow or reflection of internal states. By changing your internal state, you inevitably change the external reflection. Think of it this way. If you are looking at your reflection in a mirror and you do not like what you see, it would be futile to try to change the reflection directly. You must change what is being reflected yourself. Similarly, if you do not like what you see in your world, you must change your concept of yourself, your state of consciousness. This brings me to another crucial aspect of asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, self-concept. Your self-concept, your idea of who you are, is the foundation of all your manifestations. Everything you experience is a reflection of your concept of yourself. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will manifest experiences that confirm this unworthiness. If you see yourself as a victim, you will manifest experiences of victimization. If you see yourself as powerful, loved, and abundant, you will manifest experiences that confirm these qualities. Therefore, the most fundamental change you can make is to change your concept of yourself. Assume the feeling of being the person you want to be. Live from that assumption. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. I recall a young actor who came to me discouraged by his lack of success in the film industry. Despite his talent and dedication, he had been unable to secure significant roles. When I inquired about his self-concept, He revealed that he saw himself as a struggling actor, always on the periphery of success. I told him, that is your problem. You are assuming the state of struggle, and the universe is faithfully reflecting back to you that state. You must change your concept of yourself. You must see yourself as a successful actor in demand for major roles. I guided him in constructing a scene that implied his success in the industry. In his imagination, he would read reviews praising his performance in a major film. He would feel the satisfaction, the pride, the fulfillment of being recognized for his talent. He persisted in this new self-concept for several months. And then, as if by magic, though it was not magic but law, he was called to audition for a significant role in a major production. He secured the role, and his performance was indeed praised by critics, just as he had imagined. This is the law. By changing his concept of himself, he changed his reality. He asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. Now I want to address a question that often arises: what about collective events or global conditions? Can my individual consciousness affect these? The answer is yes, but with a caveat. Your experience of the collective is still your individual experience. You can only experience what matches your state of consciousness. For instance, in times of economic downturn, some people experience hardship and lack, while others experience opportunity and abundance. Same external condition, different individual experiences because of different states of consciousness. Therefore, do not be concerned with changing the world. Be concerned with changing yourself, your concept of yourself. As you do this, your experience of the world will change. And as more individuals do this, the collective experience changes as well. I want to emphasize that this principle is not selfish or self-centered in a negative sense. It is simply a recognition of the law of consciousness. You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot project what you do not possess within yourself. By focusing on your own state of consciousness, you are actually serving others in the highest way possible, by becoming an embodiment of what you wish to see in the world. Let me share with you one final example to illustrate the power of this principle. A woman I knew desired to help the homeless in her community. She volunteered at shelters, donated money and resources, advocated for policy changes, all external actions coming from a place of compassion, but also from a consciousness of otherness, of separation. Despite her efforts, she felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of the problem and frustrated by the seeming lack of progress. I suggested a different approach. Instead of seeing the homeless as separate from herself, as others to be helped, I advised her to assume the state of consciousness where homelessness was already solved. In her imagination, she created scenes where the once homeless individuals in her community were now living in comfortable homes, engaged in meaningful work, integrated into society. She felt the joy, the relief, the satisfaction of this fulfilled state. As she persisted in this new state of consciousness, something remarkable began to happen. She found herself inspired with new ideas and approaches. She connected with individuals and organizations that shared her vision. Resources that were previously unavailable suddenly materialized. Within a year, her community had implemented innovative solutions that significantly reduced homelessness. Was this a coincidence? No, it was the law in operation. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by asking from the state of fulfillment rather than from the state of lack or problem, she asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. In conclusion, I want to remind you of the core principle we've explored tonight. The universe cannot say no to you when you ask from the state of fulfillment, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is the art and the science of effective prayer. Remember, your consciousness is the only reality. What you assume, you become. What you believe, you receive. What you embody, you manifest. The external world is a shadow, a reflection of internal states. Therefore, choose wisely the state you wish to occupy. Dwell in it. Live from it. Fall asleep in it. And watch as the universe rearranges itself to reflect back to you your new concept of yourself. The power is within you. It has always been within you. It is your own wonderful human imagination, which is God in action. Use it deliberately, use it lovingly, use it wisely. When you know how to appropriate from the state of fulfillment, rather than from the state of lack, there is no power in heaven or on earth that can say no to your request. For in truth, you are not requesting anything. You are claiming what is already yours by divine right. Go forth now with this knowledge. Apply it in your daily life. Test it. Prove it to yourself. And experience the freedom, the joy, the abundance that is your birthright. Remember always, you are the operant power in your world. You are the author of your life story. You are the God of your universe. Ask from that place of power, from that place of knowing, and the universe cannot indeed, it will not say no. I thank you for your attention tonight. Blessings upon each and every one of you. May you go forth and create deliberately, consciously, and joyfully. I have shared with you tonight the principle that transcends all religious dogmas, all philosophical systems, all cultural traditions. It is the principle of consciousness, the principle of imagination, the principle of assumption. It is the principle that Jesus taught when he said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." This principle has been taught by the great spiritual teachers throughout history, though often veiled in symbolism and allegory. Tonight I have attempted to unveil it, to present it in its naked simplicity, so that you may apply it directly in your life. The great secret is this: the world is yourself pushed out. Everything that you experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. Change your consciousness and then you change your world. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. As you leave here tonight, I encourage you to begin immediately to apply this principle. Choose a desire, something that you truly want to be, to have, or to experience. Construct a scene in your imagination that implies the fulfillment of this desire. Enter into the scene. Make it as vivid and as real as possible. Feel the emotions that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. Then each night as you go to sleep, replay this scene in your imagination. Fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do this faithfully, persistently, and you will be amazed at how quickly your external reality begins to rearrange itself to match your internal assumption. Remember, the universe responds not to your words, not to your thoughts, but to your state of consciousness, to your feeling state. When you feel that something is real, when you embody the state of its reality, the universe has no choice but to reflect back to you that reality. This is the true meaning of faith. Faith is not belief in the unknown. Faith is the feeling of the known. Faith is the feeling of possession of that which is not yet visible to the senses. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you operate from faith, when you live from the end, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are asking in such a way that the universe may not say no. I leave you with this final thought: you are divine. You are God in human form. The power that created and sustains the universe resides within you as your own wonderful human imagination. Use this power consciously, use it lovingly, and there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. Go forth now and create the life of your dreams. For indeed, it is your divine right and your divine responsibility to do so. Thank you, and God bless you all.